Hey, hey,
Hi.
how's it going?
Good. How are you?
It's been a day. It's
Oh,
been a day. That shooting
yeah.
that took, today is that school is like 20 minutes from my house. And
Wow.
I was just there April 25th to meet with the counselors to present them something from my job. So yeah, it hits home more than people know. Like my babies came home and I just hugged them and cried. Like it just yeah. Super grateful that my kids are safe, even though they don't go to that school, but still it just hit home
Yeah.
for it to have been so close. It's crazy. The world is crazy. Feel like we haven't had a meeting in forever. But I know we have. So much. I feel like so much happened in August and it just kind of
Mhm.
flew on by. I was like, what the heck? It's like
That's
months
back to school.
so slowly. Yeah. And then it's like August
Mhm.
is, and maybe that's what it was. Maybe it's because the kids are, I don't know, but they would have been in school the early part of the year. So I don't know. It just yeah, it flew by. It flew by. Like it's September already. Temperatures dropping. It was nice and cool this morning too.
Yeah, it's still nice here.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it while I
Mhm.
can. Like I'm a summertime girl through and through, but I don't mind if it drops just a little bit, especially when we're still playing softball. So I'm gonna give it another minute.
I want to do a shout out. I see Credina. Credina is my friend. We grew up together. We're in our local book club together, and she's here
Welcome.
now.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. That's amazing.
And another shout out. I put on earrings for Erica.
You always wear earrings.
I was like, oh, make sure I put some earrings on.
You
That's
see, Monica didn't
funny.
have any on in the
I-
picture.
She didn't.
And I noticed Leia's because that photo shoot they did the other day, Leia didn't have earrings on, and she never does. Like, I was shocked to see her in earrings.
That's funny. Wonder what Shannon's up to. You don't see him much around.
I
Like,
was thinking
Yeah.
that too.
'cause he used to
He's
be, I mean,
not.
when they were separated, you'd still see him here and there in pictures and stuff. And I'm like, yo, where is he at? Like, are they not on good terms?
Yeah.
Where he
When
was?
they did that one show where she was on with like Toya and
Yes. Yep. I remember.
that guy, he was still living in the house even though they weren't together. That's the last time I saw him.
According to my intel, he's really not involved.
Asia.
Hey, I wouldn't be
According
surprised.
to my intel, give us the juice, Asia.
That's all I will say. But that's all I know too. He's really not involved.
Hilarious. All right. I think for the most part, everybody's pretty much joined. If people come on, they will come on. Um, Totally random. I just got some book mail today, and I know I'll talk about our book of the month, Attica Lock, but then this came in the mail just like a few minutes
Oh,
ago.
the new
I was
one.
like, yeah,
Nice.
the newest one. So I was like, yeah, the timing of that was pretty cool. So today we are here to talk about my ring light, Hurricane Summer. Um, by Asha Bromfield. Um, I'll just start by saying like I this book was everything to me. Um, a lot of people can relate to books. This one I felt like, especially with her being from Canada, her having a dad from the Caribbean, like I felt it. Um, yeah, it was a lot of emotions felt. Sorry, there's people still coming in it. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. I think a lot of you brought up the book in the book club within the last couple of months. Somebody was raving about it on a post, and that's when I've had it forever, but it really caught my radar. And so I was like, you know what, this would probably be a good read for us to change from romance to something else.
Yeah,
So,
whenever someone asks for a good book or a book that made them cry or whatever, I always reference Hurricane Summer is always one of the books that I reference.
yeah.
Always. Since I read it like 2 years ago almost.
It was you, Erica. There was a bunch of people on that post just kept talking about it. And I was like, okay, it's time. Because I've had it forever. And I've, gone back and forth with it being a book club pick. And I was like, you know what? Since y'all are talking about it, let's just pull the trigger and go ahead and do it. And it was so worth every bit of it. I would love, Erica, maybe you to talk about, or even you, Asia, like y'all reading it again. Did you feel those same feels reading it that another time? Because I'm definitely going to read it at some point again, to feel those feels and just experience those emotions again. But I'm just interested to hear y'all's perspective having read it again.
Yeah, you probably have seen some of our comments. We were both like, I can't believe I put myself through this again.
Okay, so I would like if y'all can tell me the emotion, because I don't know if I had those emotions. So I had emotions, but I don't know if they're the same kind. So I would like to hear you guys talk about that.
Well, I'll let y'all go first if you want, and then I'll I can speak on mine. I'm pulling up my notes.
Just knowing the disappointment and the hurt that she was about to encounter from family members over and over and over again, like that really just broke my heart. How she was just continuously hurt by people.
Yeah.
Like no one, and her dad, like the things that her dad, like how her dad was not there. And for me, having a dad that goes above and beyond, like this day, I could call him right now. He'll be here in 10 minutes. Just to literally. So to see her like, or to read her and hear her struggling with her relationship with her dad, and it was just heartbreaking. And then the things that, again, her family was doing, like her aunt.
Yeah.
Everything that her aunt did broke my heart for her.
Exactly.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that was the
Deanna,
hard part in the
Deanna
book.
sent that guy to attack her, basically.
Yes.
All of that,
Yes.
plus the fact that she
Yes.
sent him, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And so just knowing like I was about to read that or listen to those things happen to her again, I was chatting with a few people like, oh my God, like I've only read 10% and now I'm recalling all of these things and I'm mad at everybody all over again.
Yeah, reading it
Yep.
the second time, I hated the aunt even more the second time because I knew what was coming, and it was kind of like, as a teacher, sometimes I see that with some kids, like especially like kids that have different fathers, like one favors one kid the most and the other one gets treated really bad. And it was like the aunt was taking all her frustrations out on this girl, and this girl, she had no clue. Like, and then because of what her skin looked like, and because she was from this, not from Jamaica, they thought she was rich and felt she like it just, I don't know. And then just the way that boy took advantage of her, and she just, like you said, when I saw y'all post, I was about to type like, "Yup." I said the same thing to myself. Why did I read this again?
As far as my emotions, like, and I said, I could relate to a lot, her being from Canada. When I was about 4, almost 5 years old, my mom got remarried. We moved to South Florida. So we moved. So I had a consistent relationship with my dad up until 4 years old. Then we moved to Florida away from him, and it just changed. It was like he disappeared off the face of the earth. Not that he wasn't there, but it was like communication with me. We didn't get up to Canada to see, family often. I didn't see him, vice versa. So I really felt how disconnected she felt with her dad. That's how I felt with that. And then there was some quotes in there that I saved to Goodreads or highlighted on my Kindle. It's a strange pursuit, chasing the love of your father, when the first man who is supposed to want you doesn't. You eventually stop running, you eventually grow tired. And that's kind of, my dad is like like, I don't hate him, right? He's still there. I wanted to call him and touch base with him. He's there, but there's a block there. Like, I literally do not think of him in the way that people think of their dad every day.
Okay.
Like a void there. Like, my mom is my world. That's just how I could relate to her in that, where she was just so disconnected from her dad. And it was, I don't know. It was interesting. I really felt her feeling from
Okay.
that.
Okay, because I guess because I just lost my dad this year, but I had a very close relationship to my dad. So even though my parents were divorced, my dad is like our person. He was our person to my sister and I. So I guess I didn't feel the way that I was looking at this little girl. I wanted to strangle her like 20 times in this book. And as a mother of a young adult girl, she literally was like on my nerves. Like, I'm like, okay, I just have to be in this book club because did anybody else want to strangle her?
I did. I felt like she put herself in situations, but like
Yes.
she's outside, of course they lock the door, but like for you to walk off and go into the woods with this
Right.
like further away from safety, like I felt like she continually put herself in situations.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming her. She is the victim 100%, but I'm like, you could have probably at least stayed to the house, closer to the house, banged on the door, something where you're not in the woods where, you know, and then not only once, but twice you did that with him. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think she was very naive, though. I think she thought that she was very naive, and she thought that nothing would happen. And I could sense that in basically all of her behaviors and the way that she talked about things. Had to keep in mind, okay, she just turned 18, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, she's very naive. She doesn't have this, you know, worldly or street experience, so she's still very trusting of people.
Yeah.
But
and I was kind of pissed off at the dad too for continually leaving
her.
Yes.
He does not know you're in this foreign country for the first time, away from your mom. It's you and your little sister, and you're just, I get that that's your family and you probably trust them, but like I just felt some type of way about him leaving. And then the uncle also kind of gave me these vibes. Like I really thought something was gonna happen with him, the way he addressed her at one time. Like, oh shit, something's about to go down with him and we're gonna have to fight. Like it's about to be another what was that book we read? Oh my God. We're the stepdad.
Yeah, we wanted to fight.
You know what I'm talking about? The guy that moved in with the mom, not Mrs. Piggins, but you know that author.
God don't like ugly.
Oh, right.
God don't like ugly. I'm like, are we about to have another situation like this where the uncle is coming at her some kind of way?
That's what I thought too. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And then I was gonna be mad. I was already mad, but if that had happened, I was gonna be mad.
Yeah. Can't take no more.
Exactly. He was about to attack his own sister, like assault her. And I was like, I had to step away from the book for a couple of days and read a romance novel because I said, it's too much trauma going on right now. I gotta step away.
Definitely was. Situation after situation. And then every situation, nothing was good except for what was his name? Andre?
Yep, Andre.
That situation, the way they treated him, I was just about to say, that just broke my heart. And the whole colorism thing that has kind of been coming out since the Olympics. And Noah's girlfriend, I forgot her name, Janelle or whatever, and she talks about how people have talked about her skin and all this stuff. I'm like, come on, people, we can't still be here.
We are. What was really sad about his situation, I don't think he even realized they were treating him bad.
Right.
Yeah, he kind of made
it's the way they it's the way they always treated him. So that's all he knew. So he kind of found the best or the most, the rainbows and all the clouds.
I think he knew because he mentioned it.
It was from the standpoint of this is just how they treat me.
Right.
But he did say, he said he wished that he could bleach. Or did he try to bleach himself? He wished that God hadn't made him that ugly and all this. And I was like,
yeah. I think Andre was a big reason why, and me and Erica talked about this, like anticipating what was going to happen to him. It was just.
Y'all should have told somebody.
Well, no, we needed y'all to feel all the feelings.
No spoilers.
Yeah, and they had these dreams of him, and I didn't expect it to end the way that it did for him.
Yeah.
In a weird way, though, I was relieved, and I know that's sad to say, but like she was making these promises about, you'll come to this art camp, you'll come home for the summer, and I just had a feeling that was never gonna happen for him.
Yeah.
So kind of okay with him leaving, thinking that was going to happen because I'm making these promises. Oh yeah, you can come stay with us, and I felt for him because I was like, it's probably not going to.
That's a very common feeling when you go to like a third world. You know, you want to save everybody.
Yeah.
But when you're 18
and
years
that was
old, you
how
at
I
least know
felt
to
about the
discuss it
book.
with your parents.
That's true.
I wanted to save everybody. For me, it wasn't that Tilla story was sad. There literally was not a bright spot. Nobody was happy except, what was the sister's name? Mia?
Yeah.
Mia was the only person who was happy, who didn't have the weight of the world on their shoulders. Like those kids were living a life that we couldn't fathom, that sort of poverty and hardship. And it was just dark. And I remember reading it years ago and being blown away and having that reaction like, oh my goodness, what a story. This time it was just too heavy for me. Like it took me days because I had to keep stopping it, going to read something else because it just got to be too heavy. There was not a single bright spot in that book for me.
The first time I read the book, I read it like, I think maybe a couple months before I went to Jamaica for the first time. So of course, when I went there, I was like, am I going to really see this type of stuff? And we were driving through and seeing like these kids on the side of the road. They trying to tell you whatever. Like I just kept thinking back to that book and like my heart was breaking. Like, okay, this is real. Because you see when they trying to get you to buy there, they showing you the glamour part. Look at this
resorts.
Yes. And then we driving through and I'm like, oh my God, look at these kids. Like, and I agree with Erica. It was just everybody's story was sad. Even though all their stories were sad, I did want to fight the pastor's daughter.
Deanna.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Deanna.
Yeah, Deanna. I couldn't think of her name because I was like, but I get it. She wanted to be her friend, but then she was so jealous because she really thought this girl had this world, this big world, and they didn't even know that in Canada they really was struggling. They wasn't like rich or anything, but because
they bought from Walmart,
right? And they
everything was from Walmart.
Understand, yeah.
Yes, and they thought she had all this money, but
compared to them, she did have money. Comparatively speaking, they were poor.
That's true.
And honestly, they probably know the dad living in Kingston and the type of life he's living over there.
Yeah.
And they call him Asha, and he's got this farm that people are working on. Like they see him as someone with money too. So it's like, girl, you can tell us Walmart, but we know how your dad's living.
Right.
Like we know where you're coming from. So yeah, their perception of her was, you've got money, kid.
And he had that farm where he was giving people food. One of the things I was really sad about the father situation, he wasn't a father to Tilla, but it seemed like he was so concerned and loving with everyone else.
Yeah.
Right.
He understood their situations and he was, he felt for them.
And he felt, listen, him and that second family.
Ooh, girl.
That was like,
I was 38 hot.
That was like,
so many times.
She never ended up telling her mom, right? That he had that second
because it ends with her getting on their
we don't know.
But she says to her dad,
he said that he had to tell her, right?
Right.
I am not going to carry this secret for you, and I appreciate her for that. That's not her secret to bear, and that's too heavy for her. And
I don't know how the mom couldn't not know that though. Like,
I wouldn't know. You had a heifer in your kid's face. Like, are you kidding me right now?
That's how arrogant do you have to be to bring your children around this woman and your child, and to think your child is not going to say
they don't
my daddy at some point in time.
I think he thought they were so stupid they wouldn't catch on. That's what I thought.
Probably.
That just goes to show how he don't know his kids.
Right.
But this my thing. She could catch on to that and her dad. Why she's 18? I felt like it was a little unrealistic that she didn't even catch on to Deanna, like the mean girl stuff. She caught on a little bit to what was going on. That is something's off a little bit. I think her parents failed her. I know her mom loved her and the dad didn't do anything, but having girls my own, I try to talk about if it don't feel right, step away or say something. It was just a downward spiral.
To me, it felt like it was a younger person's story. I had to actually go back in the book and look for how old she was, because I thought somebody at 18 would do all of that.
Yeah, I thought she was like 14. I didn't realize she was that long.
And that's why I didn't feel the need to choke her because I felt her parents failed her. I felt that they have sheltered her. You know, me having a teenager, having someone in high school, I constantly talk about how I hate that my kids don't get the street smarts that I had to have. My kids have never walked to a corner store. I've never given my kids bus fare and said, meet me here. You know, we've raised our kids and to live a certain lifestyle that we want for them, but they also lose a little bit of grit, a little bit of street smarts. And, you know, I share a lot of stories with my kids. And I tell them, by the grace of God, I'm still here, because when I tell you, me and my cousin were a little bit of everywhere we shouldn't have been. And doing stuff that today would like terrify us, that we wouldn't do as adults, but it was just the norm. And walking on the sides of roads and taking rides from people because they said they knew our mother, things like that. And so I have these conversations with my daughter. I also have these conversations with, like, you know, my daughter, when she first got to her last school, this one girl kept trying to get her to go to the lake in our neighborhood. And I'm like, Leah, something's not right. Why does she keep trying to lure you out there? And Leah's just like, oh, she's my friend. No, no, no. Like, she didn't feel any red flags. And so I think I saw that in Tilla, and I didn't feel any upset with Tilla. I wanted to save her, but I felt upset with her parents. I felt like they did fail her. And in a way that so many of us are, just because we're, you know, able to remove our kids from certain situations and give them a different lifestyle and a different experience than what we had, they lose some sort of education in that process.
Yeah, and sometimes your stories aren't enough, right? Like, you hope they are.
Right.
But they're going to go out into the world and be put in these situations and have to make decisions. And the curiosity is going to get them at some point. I mean,
Right.
it got us. I know it got me.
Right.
Right.
I saw with Tilla, like you were saying, Erica, I saw a lot of my daughter with, like, she just believed everybody was her friend. And that's how my daughter is, because I didn't raise her to be defensive about people. But whereas I grew up, I had to always be on the offense, like, who's this person, what they want, you know, whereas she lives in, I'm not saying a utopia, but it's kind of like, oh, everybody's so good, you know, until that one person really hurts her, and then they don't know how to deal with that hurt. And Tilla didn't know what to do. I honestly feel like you said, her parents felt like she didn't know what to do. She didn't have to live like that.
And I like that's what I like about what Cardina said. It's about how does it feel to you? Because I can't imagine every situation that you might face, but I should have instilled enough in you that when something just doesn't feel right, how are you gonna pivot from this? Because mama's not
And
gonna be
that's
there
a
with you.
legitimate concern, because I have that conversation with for those who don't know, Leah's 14. And I'm always saying to her, that feels right to you? That didn't sound off? Like, because I'm trying to see, what are you feeling? Because to me, the red flags are flagging, sis. And, you know, Carisha, please gonna be like, well, a baddie thought this. And I'm like, Leah, wake up. You know, even with her coming home 2 weeks ago and saying the kids were fighting, they were doing this. I said, well, what did you do? Did you stand there and just let the fist go by your head? Did you know to get out the way? Like,
Right.
and she's small. You know, not only is she a little bit naive, but she kind of has this like Jessica Simpson airheadedness about her a lot of times, but also she's tiny. You know, she's always the smallest in the school. And so I'm always saying to her, like, that didn't feel, you didn't think that didn't sound right? Where all of us, at least at our age now, we would not have gone outside with the older boy who was intimidating and scary, because we know how to back out of that now. But I remember walking into ninth grade being built. I had developed early. I was built, and the 12th grade boys loved me. I was terrified. I didn't want to be alone with them. I didn't want to take gym class with them. I thought they were all out to try to make babies with me. And so I could imagine being Tilla and thinking, what if I say no and he gets aggressive? What if he hurts me? You know, and that's a reality. And that did happen to me in high school. And so it didn't occur to me in reading the book to be like, oh, I want to choke her. I just wanted to save her. I wanted to rescue her, and I wanted to empower her. and all the girls in the book and the boys too. But I just feel like reading that book where she didn't even feel like she could say to her mom, I'm not happy because now mom got to scramble to get money to get me home. So I got to just thug it out. I hated that she didn't even feel safe enough to tell her mom that she wasn't okay. It just really made me sad. Like I said, the only person who just seemed legitimately okay was that the little sister.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't think she have a little accountability? For instance, the Hassan told her about the Deanna situation where she had to have the abortion and so forth, but she still went along with having relationships with the guy, and you already knew the story.
Right.
So I'm just like, we need a little, even if her parents didn't tell her about this, just hearing that situation, this guy just went through this, shouldn't that just be a red flag? Like, okay.
Yes. Yep.
It should be, but I look at women all the time that do stuff. I look at myself and go, girl, you didn't see that flag?
Exactly. I'm like, she's a
Ain't got
teenager.
nothing on
Grown.
me. When that
Exactly.
was more than a
I can't
flag.
see a
She
red
was
flag to
told.
save my life.
Yeah.
I mean,
Be like, ooh, it's so
she's
bright and
legally
pretty.
an adult, but at 18, your brain is not fully developed.
No.
Right.
And on top of that, even with, like I think Asia said, are those stories enough? You can hear the stories from your parents and whatnot, but that doesn't mean most of us have this, oh, this happens to everybody else.
Yeah.
This doesn't happen to me. That's why we have some, I always say, how do people, I have sympathy for people that are drug addicts. I have major sympathy because I know it's an addiction. But I always used to wonder, how does it start? What makes a person try, for example, crack? And it's basically, it happens to other people. It's not going to happen to me. Yeah. So I think there's some of that, plus the fact she's naive and she's a teenager.
And she was also trying to fit in, right? Like she was
trying
trying
to fit in. Yeah.
She was trying to fit in and kind of was just trying to survive. I think somebody else has already said that. Like when you know your mama does not have the money to come and rescue you from a situation that you don't want to be in, your daddy is gonna tell you to stay. Hell, he might not even come get you, right? Like you might communicate to him like, I want to leave. And I think she may have done that. But he did not, he just like abandoned them, like just dropped them off into this situation where he knew that people would perceive them a certain way. So they went into that fighting for survival, literally, because everybody already was like, oh, you think you all that. And as soon as people have that perception of you, you're already like basically in war, right? Like you're fighting constantly to break through and you're trying to people please, right? You're trying to prove them like wrong. You're trying to be friends with them. And I think that was part of the reason why she kept getting caught up in so many of those situations.
Yeah, and Hassan was her safe space. Like,
yeah.
He was slick. Hassan was slick. He knew how to play the game. I was mad at him. I was very mad at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got on that bus and went like, I'm like, you're really gonna do this? You already got in trouble for curfew, right? Like not being back on time. And now you finna drive all the way out here with this little boy. And then she came back at what, sunset? And I was like, oh, I already knew all hell was about to break loose.
When they were on that raft, I was like, now didn't you just tell her that you promised to somebody because you got them pregnant? Now what the hell you doing on this raft?
Right.
What is happening?
Right.
She came home and all the clothes were just
all over the yard.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Oh, I want to fight.
I did too.
Yeah, but it was
tell
funny.
your dad. I was like, tell your dad she's doing this. When are you gonna tell your dad?
Because your dad has to know his sister is hateful.
Right, crazy.
You are not the first person that she has treated this way.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think
And he just dropped his kids off there. Like
right.
they're gonna be responsible for you. These two young women that they don't know, I'm gonna just drop them off and give you their bed.
Yeah. Right.
The dad was not a safe space.
Said her dad just was not her dad was not her person. Her dad was not her safe space. So she could have called and said, your sister didn't put my stuff in the mud. He was not coming for them.
No, he probably would have
Don't tell her to go wash your clothes.
She probably,
Why was you out so late?
He would have said you running around like a slut.
Yeah,
right.
He
He would have
got on my
believed his
nerves calling that
sister.
girl a slut.
Because if she had
that
told the
pissed me
father, if she had told her father that he put his clothes out, then she would have also had to explain to him why she did it.
True. Now
And
that's
she would have had to explain that.
That's true.
She would have had to take that accountability that we already said she's not going to take.
Right.
That's true.
Because she knew how to play dumb, that's for sure.
Because I'm spending time with her son.
And the brother, I forget, the aunt and the uncle, they were both really bitter. The uncle, he was dealing with a terminal cancer. So he was just hateful and mad at the world. And that's how he was handling his illness. And the sister, she's bitter because she don't want to be there. She had left and she had to come back because the king came back. And so she was just bitter. And then on top of all of that, you leave your kids here. I came back because of you, and now you leave your kids here and skedaddle.
Yeah.
He was too busy with his other family.
Yeah.
Living the life. Sugary cereal.
Variety too.
Did she say sugary cereal?
Yeah.
There were a number of times in reading, I stopped and said, you know what? I got to pray right now. Because I'm already so thankful for my family. But reading all of that and hearing all this, I was like, oh my God, Daddy.
Right.
Let me be extra thankful in this moment because I could not imagine.
What do y'all think was the dad's trauma until he just was not interested in those two children? Was it because who their mom was? But I just couldn't get what was his problem that just no interest at all to that you're allowing them to be mistreated knowingly to me.
He was raised in such a toxic family.
Yeah, I don't even know if he was aware that that was happening. It just seemed.
No, I don't think so. I don't think she, because again, she would have had to tell him what her part was, what she did to piss the
They were
sister off.
snitching on her for the things that she was doing, but I don't know that he actually knew how his sisters were treating her and how, you know.
But I'm saying like his mistreatment. What about his mistreatment?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I can say as someone who's divorced, like, my ex-husband left to be with his mistress, and it was like as soon as the kids didn't exist, nothing. He moved to North Carolina away from them. So for me, it's like I couldn't dare think of leaving my children and being apart from them. And so I don't know. Sometimes I guess you might have a midlife crisis. I don't know. Like you're just going through something. You have this freedom, and that person is providing you with something that you couldn't get back at home, and they just become a priority in your world until they don't.
And there's so many men that do that. So if you could decode the one in this book, then we would have the answer to why all of these men leave their kids, and there's so many there too. My brother's one of them. He went off, and when he couldn't get with his wife, when he couldn't get back with her, he was like, the hell with the kid. And they didn't have a relationship for decades. So if you can figure that one out, then we'll have the answer to all these other people acting ugly. All these other fathers not stepping up.
I think part of his problem was moving to Canada and it not being his life not turning out 100% how he thought, right?
Right.
So people think they leave their home country, home, whatever. Like it could be moving from one state to another, and you have all these dreams of, prosperity, and that was not reality for them.
Yeah.
Once he got there, but you still the big man at home, right? Because you left. Even if it's not everything that you thought it would be, you left. You have the pressure at home, just like when people be having their little mistresses, you have the pressure with your real family, and then you get to go somewhere else and you don't have that pressure, you don't have those responsibilities, right? And I think that he leaned into that a lot.
Yep.
That's the thing I think about it is, for me, what makes you think you're not going to you started a new family? So you think she's not gonna fuss and she's not gonna give you stress and she's not.
That's why he was going 6 months here, 6 months there.
Yeah. Like, take a break from that one, go to that.
You're getting on my nerves. I'm going elsewhere for a little bit.
It's more about culture. All right. So if you think about the Jamaican culture and the males in that culture, it's about power, it's about respect. When he went to Canada, he didn't get that power and respect.
They call a man master.
They call him master. They call your uncle, your cousin.
Uncle master.
He truly is treated like a king there. Like everybody bows down to him. They're scared of him. They're gonna do what he wants. Your grown ass sister is giving up her bed to go sleep on a couch so that your kids can have it for you know whatever reason. Like, yeah, everybody was he had some type of power and entitlement when he was in Jamaica. It was different. So yeah, I probably would want to stay there too.
But I had to ask there's a Jamaican lady that comes here and takes care of my father. I had to ask her, they call a lot of the people their master.
Interesting. Very interesting.
They said it's a sign of respect. That's when she asked him. Yeah. But where it comes from is slavery, calling a slave, you know, oversee a master. That's where it comes from. But
that's what even say it like the slaves did, mass.
Let it go. Just let it go.
But this made me think about, have y'all read what is the book called? How to Save Babylon?
Is not yet, but I have not read it.
Babylon. Yeah. That was a good book. I read that.
I liked it. But it made me what was Danielle? What you were just saying, that made me think of that book, because yes, the Jamaican men. Yeah.
You know, with the father, it was cultural, but I also think it was generational. Like, you see how his siblings behaved, you see how his family acted. I think he had the same venom in himself that they had. It's not like, you know, those siblings just all became so bitter and disenfranchised on their own. And so I think that it was almost written, like how you see how they all just accept their lot in life, that this is what it is. This is our life. This is what my mother went through, my grandmother went through, so I know I'm gonna go through it. I think that he probably has watched a lot of men disconnect from their kids in his own family. I think he probably was failed and didn't necessarily have that connection. And so it just seemed like he was just a product of his environment, and that it was almost expected and that it was almost okay. Like he didn't seem to think that he was failing as a parent whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it didn't help that he picked someone who would kind of play dumb about it and still think that they were together while he's playing house somewhere else for 6 months. And then that other lady obviously was down for the cause. She braiding the girl's hair, talking about, oh, we could all go to the beach. Like, you're not gonna warm us up and introduce, like, how we just going to the beach? And then she was like, okay, and puts her son in that situation, puts that little boy in that bad situation. So I just feel like his family prepared him to be the distant father that he is.
I think that too is part of them treating Tilla the way they did. I think Tilla probably saw that, okay, this is how they look at things, and he's not going to do anything if I tell him that they're treating me this way. He's probably going to uphold it. He's probably going to say, you need to listen to them because they are your elders. And
right.
And he told her she shouldn't be running around, and almost called her a slut. But
yeah,
I think she probably saw that he's not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, you know that I'm very close with my father. Everybody knows it's one of my best friends, but I don't think his family was always nice to me because his mother didn't like my mother. And so when I was little, she would do things like, I have a cousin that I'm very, very close to who has always been much bigger than me. And she would buy us stuff at Christmas, but it would be in my cousin's size. And when I would say, I can't fit it, she said, oh, give it to your cousin. I'll get you something else later. She would do stuff like that to me all the time.
Did she get it later?
No, she couldn't stand me.
Okay.
No, I never got the other gifts. But, you know, she would do that. And my mom would be like, okay, I'll take care of it. My mom would make sure I had. But when I would say it to my dad, he'd always go, oh, I don't want to hear that. My mother, she's Christian. She gives to whoever needs the most. So don't bother me with that. He would act like it was so trivial. And he would not let me tell him about his mother. And so when I was in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago, I told him about his mother. I finally was like, you know what? Let's talk. And I said to him, you allowed her to not be decent to me. And because it wasn't like overt where she was beating me or doing anything, but I was telling you as a little one, a very quiet little one who didn't like to speak up, like, Betty, Yaya's not nice to me, or Yaya didn't do this for me. But my father would act like, oh, I can't get involved. He would almost act like, this is trivial little women's business. I can't be bothered with you complaining like women and your little petty stuff. I gotta go save the world. I gotta go build a house. Like that's what my father would act. And so I got to a point where I didn't say, I'd go over there, didn't have a good time with his mom. And I just didn't tell him. Now I told my mother, and you best believe I told my big mom. And my big mom would be like, don't make me go over there, who is my maternal grandmother. But I didn't have a chance to say it to him until he was an adult. And the really funny thing, talking about how the kids just kind of watch Tilla, other people watch Tilla be mistreated. I am super close to my cousin. As an adult, I've had to say to her, you never noticed that Yaya treated us differently? She said, no. And I said, I bet you didn't, because you were reaping the benefits of it. So she didn't realize every Christmas you got 2 outfits because one of them was mine. And she was like, wow, I'd never noticed. So, I thought I am close to my dad and I'll defend my dad, but I saw a lot of my dad in that character also, and how he didn't check his family when they weren't good to me. And I said to him recently, not only were they not good to me, they were even worse to your kids by the other woman. My father became a father when he was 15, and he was a second-time father at 17. So I have brothers who were really, really treated like outside dirty kids by his family. And I never saw my dad defend or stand in for them. So they didn't feel like they had the power to speak up because they knew my dad wasn't going to back them.
Wow. What was the outcome of the conversation with your dad? Did he acknowledge it?
He was sitting there acting confused, going, yeah, okay, He won't.
Yeah.
And it's hard. My grandmother is deceased. And so, it's not like he could do anything about it. But this was the first time that he did not challenge me and tell me I was wrong, or that, oh, she did for the ones who needed the most. He didn't really argue with me. He just kept saying, okay, I hear you. And, and I always tell people, I'm just very thankful that I had my maternal grandmother who I grew up in the house with. And that what I learned to say to his mother was, oh, don't worry, my real grandmother will do it. And that used to burn her up. And when I realized she didn't like that, I said, oh, my real grandmother will buy it. And it squashed all of it.
And see, the other crazy thing is their perception of foreigners. They were like, oh, you foreigners are nasty. And they just did not have a positive outlook at people who came from outside of Jamaica.
Yeah, they talked about her like she was dirty, like out the gutter, didn't know how to bathe, didn't know how to clean, like that. I was like, woo, that would have broke me.
You don't think that was because they were jealous?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they always think we have money. I don't care. We dirt poor. And they always think we have, even used to when, as a kid growing up, going down to North Carolina, for whatever reason, they always thought because we lived in New York, we had a lot of money.
That's my siblings too. Like my dad is from Trinidad. He has 6 kids. We live all over, but because I'm the one that lives in America, everybody thinks that I'm the one with all the money, wants to come see my kids. I'm like, I don't know you. Like this is in my 30s, so I just had to like eventually just block and unfriend people from Facebook because I really didn't know your intentions. Like you're my sister by definition, you know what I'm saying? But like I don't know you. I've never talked to you. So for me to open my home up to you and you want to come see my newborn twins, like that was just weird to me. Like I don't know you. And I have another one that's in Trinidad that would like want me to fly her out and stuff. And I'm like, where do you think I'm getting this money from to do all this? Like, they just see me as the one, from America with the dollar signs.
Before, when you all were talking about the people from Jamaica's perception of how we Americans are and thinking we have a lot of money and being disappointed when I forget who said it. I'm being disappointed when things don't turn out the way they think it. We talking about the father coming to Canada and how he felt when he didn't make it in Canada and having to go back. Just use that scenario and look at just think about how the immigrants feel. The same way they think that they're going to come over here and it's so wealthy here and they're going to prosper, and then they get here and it's not that way.
Not that easy.
Yeah. That's true.
It's not that easy.
Big fish in a small pond versus the other way around. You know, when he was there, he was. They think they're coming to America and it's going to be fantastic.
Streets of gold, and they get here and they be like, wow.
They can't be thinking that now. They looking at our we're in shambles.
No. Yeah.
Craziness. Any other thoughts?
I love
enjoyed this book. It was a good pick. I had heard of it for a long time, but I just didn't get around to reading it.
That was me too. I've had it in one of my linen closets. Has become a bookshelf. It's been in there some years, probably since it came out. I probably got it as an ARC because I know I didn't buy it. So had it.
And the writer, she wrote so beautifully.
Yes. Yeah. I definitely want to check out. Has anybody read her other book that she came out with?
I haven't, but I have it, but haven't read it yet.
Let me look
Songs of Irie.
Songs of Irie.
Songs of Irie.
Has anybody read it? Nobody's read it?
I haven't.
I definitely want. I love this book, so I definitely want to check out more.
I 5-starred this one.
Yeah, I have to agree. The writing, especially for it to be her first book, I thought it was. I read it in 3 days. I don't read that fast, and I just couldn't put it down. And I got it from the library, and I'm like, this is a book I need to own.
Yeah,
I read it quickly too.
I bought the audio, and I have the ebook, and I have the physical copy. I was like, I want it all because I definitely will read it again.
I got it on Everland, but I think I'm gonna go back and buy it and I may or may not ever read it again, but it's just one that I think I want to have because.
Yeah, I had it in a Kindle, and then last week for some reason it popped up on my Amazon for only $6. So I just went.
I was gonna say the article was on sale within the last month or so. It was on sale because I got books as well.
I got it too. Did anyone listen to the conversation in Audible?
With Tiffany D. Jackson?
With Tiffany
I
D. Jackson.
loved that. Yes, the questionnaire at the end.
So good.
I said I might go back and listen, but
it's worth a listen.
Yeah, they have some good little banter and some questions. And of course, I love Tiffany D. Jackson, so it was a good.
I had other stuff that I was supposed to be doing, and I was like, okay, I finished the book.
It literally was like another
real estate and all these changes I don't understand.
Yeah, it was another good chunk of the book added on there.
Did you see Nyla let her in?
Say that again?
Nyla.
Oh, she's down there? My bad.
You said any other thoughts? As a Bayou girl, I was like, y'all are not playing outside in a category.
Right.
Hurricane. That does not happen. Like you can't stand up. So that was the only part for me. I was like, oh, well, not the only part, but I was like, come on, y'all. Like this, it's a beautiful scene, but that ain't happening.
I wondered about that because I was in Jamaica one time, I think when maybe Sandy, some hurricane. And I was actually in Jamaica and they were like, okay, here's water. They kept giving us water for our rooms and it ended up not being as bad as they thought it would be. But there were people out on the beach when they were like, they had shut the beach down. They had shut everything down. And there were still people out there running around, going in the water and all of that. And I was like, okay, when I saw that, I was like, I wonder if people in Jamaica actually do this.
Not with a 5 coming through.
Listen, right. I was like, I'm a Hurricane Andrew survivor. What was that, 1992 or something?
92.
And so I just remember I'm in second grade at this point, so I'm young. I just remember my stepdad at the time like having the front door wide open to go smoke a cigarette, and the thing is just like flying back and forth. You just see all this rain and wind, and I'm like, are you really outside smoking a cigarette right now with the front door wide open? Like, how are you even gonna get that closed? But
Listen,
Even
they called it Gustav in the book, and I was like, I don't know if that's the Gustav we got, but the one we got, Maisha and Cardina know, our lights were out for 2 weeks. Like, there is no way you were outside playing in that. I slept in the hallway, either Laura or I think it was Ida. I slept in the hallway with a hammer and a gun because it was so loud out there. I was terrified. I was like, my roof is gonna cave in. And I'm terrified. There's no way I'm walking out in a fire.
There.
Yeah.
And playing and like, look at God, look at no, sir.
If I have to ask,
at the top of your lungs.
I understand the gun, but why the hammer?
Because I felt like if I need to break, like if the sheetrock and stuff fell on me, I needed to get through something. Like that's the most scared I've ever been in a storm. I think it was Ida.
How long ago?
I was about to ask, was she gonna shoot the hurricane?
No, girl, I need to know where the guns are before the looters know where the guns are. But I guess Ida was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Looking at
it wasn't that long ago.
Yep, 2021.
I did. I slept in the hall. My dogs were like, "We good." I'm like, "I am not. That was a scare." I was recording sound like that was it sounded like they say you hear a freight train. Oh, that's the worst one. That was the worst one to me.
I have my hurricane box. I look at it like I believe you. I don't play with that. I've been through too many of them. Hurricane box, everything ready to go. So I have my
I got a box of food in there, all my non-perishables. But otherwise, I enjoyed it tremendous. I mean, it was tough to read. And I think like when I started feeling like the book ban stuff, I looked at the age, I was like, oh no, kids can't read this book. This is a lot. This is the heavy stuff. But I think they should. They should.
Definitely some eye-opening experiences, and she'll teach them a lot of what not to do. Just she was so vulnerable and put herself in situations, and it's like, I don't know. And again, like you question her parenting, like what kind of conversations are you having to put them onto things? I know I'm constantly having conversations with my kids. I mean, I can't, when they're in the real world, who knows how they're going to act, even if I can tell them 100 times, but I try to at least prepare them. Like even today, some of y'all that were on the beginning of the chat, I was talking about the mass shooting. It was about 20 minutes from where I live. And like when they came home, like we sat down, like I'm tears in my eyes. I'm sitting there preparing them. Like if this happens in your school, do this, play dead. If you can turn on your phone, turn it on, communicate with me. If you can't, like just trying to go through all scenarios. I'm like, the best thing you can do probably is play dead and just don't move, stay still.
Because that phone business is kind of dangerous. If the shooter sees them with the phone, that that might trigger them.
Yep, I agree.
Or if they hear it vibrate or something.
Right.
Yep.
My niece told me they do drills at her school.
They do too, in ours.
Upstate South Carolina. I'm like,
they have a lot of lockdown drills.
But
we do, but we haven't even started them yet because we're still like starting school off. We haven't even had our lockdowns yet.
That just makes me so sad that we're at that point that we have to have it.
Do y'all do fire drills and tornado drills anymore? Is it just shooting drills now?
I don't know that we've Tenley.
They do all of
fire drills too.
We do all of them.
We do all.
Our police officer at our school, he told us at the beginning of the school year, he said, I don't care what the county says. I'm going to tell you what I think you should do. And he said, he's like, do not slide that green thing under the door to say, everything's okay in here. He said, that's how you let the shooter know that somebody's in your classroom. He said, don't you slide not one thing under your door. You better close those curtains. You better cover up your window. Do whatever you need to do to stay safe.
Yeah.
He said, he got so pissed off when the people came through to do a walkthrough and they're like, well, they don't have something up under the door. He said, and they're not. I'm not going to make them put anything under the door. I don't care what admin says. I don't care what anybody says. It's all about their safety.
What do you mean put something under the door?
So during the drills,
tell me what you mean, like a piece of furniture or
there's supposed to be a piece of a green sheet of paper that's laminated that you slide under the door to say,
oh no,
everything's okay in this room. No. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
No, I know that when we had this drill at work recently, And my husband is APD, and so one of his guys came and told us what to do. So if you're in a conference room and a meeting is happening and a shooter comes in, you put everything heavy in front of that door so they can't come in the room.
Exactly.
And that's it. And then be ready, use it, whatever you need to use as a weapon if they come in. A chair, whatever.
What kind of drills do y'all do in school? Did you do a lockdown like mass shooter? Have you done drills like that? What about
fire drill?
tornado?
We haven't done one yet this year, but
You've done it before?
Yeah.
Any other drills?
I don't think so.
Okay, thanks.
Hey,
Wow.
Tim.
Hey, Tinley.
Do y'all still put the book on your head for the tornado?
The tornado drill, what do you do?
We just go into like a corner away from the windows, and then we go down with our
heads down, tucked in, or whatever.
We used to be in the hallway with a book on our head.
Now they cancel school. So
Right.
Yeah. Remember, they don't have books anymore.
Oh, dang, they don't. I don't have
books.
That's true.
Nisha, why were you putting a book on your head? For what?
In case anything falls.
anything falls.
Oh, is that what it was for? I don't think I ever knew why. We just were in the hallway with a book.
A little science book being in that hallway.
Like Jess,
was
you
gonna
had the
help
hammer.
if a
She was
brick
ready.
fell on your head.
Jess was ready with that hammer. We got a book to protect this.
you got to be ready. You got to be
falling
ready.
in.
When I get to work tomorrow, I'm gonna show y'all the picture of our safety bag that we have to carry around during drills like that. Because last year, my school was right by a bank, and somebody robbed the bank, and my class was outside. And lockdown, they couldn't let us in, so I had to hide under like the slide with the kids, because and the police had it. So now in our safety bags, we have like a sheet or something to like put up, like to guard, like to make it look like you're behind something. It's really weird. It's kind of heavy. Flashlights, you got a walkie-talkie and all this type of stuff so that you don't get on your phone.
Instead of just changing the laws to make sure these kinds of things can't or less likely to happen, y'all make teachers walk around with sheets.
And that's what I want to know. This kid, his name was Colt Gray, I think. He was 14 years old. So I have he was a student there. So I have so many questions as to where did he get the gun from? Was it parents? Was it not locked up? Like I have a lot of questions. 14 years old. I'm interested. I'm waiting for them to release more information, a picture, something.
That was the one that just happened. He was 14. Oh my God.
Yeah.
14 years old. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. And again, like we've had lockdowns since I was in high school after Columbine. Like the doors are locked from the outside. You have to go to the front office. Like I can't even get into my kids' middle school if I'm checking them out. There's like a double glass window.
Yeah.
They'll let me in one layer of it, but that's it. I'm not getting to the front, to the secretary. My kids got to come out. I can't come in. So they do have precautions, set in place and stuff like that. But again, if the kid is a student there with an ID and, we don't have clear backpack policy at our school. So it's like.
Clearly all these policies ain't working because we keep seeing this stuff on the news.
Nope.
Do any of the schools have clear backpack policy?
Some of them, but
Yours does? Okay. I hadn't heard of
It does.
that.
The school district here does.
APD. I mean APD, APS.
Atlanta Public
Yep.
School.
Clayton County does too.
Yeah. APS is only middle and high though. Clayton County is pre-K through 12. Pre-K through 12.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
how
the
Orangeburg
cab is
went.
definitely.
We were high school, and now this year it's everybody.
Yeah,
And
this year is the first year they really were a stickler about it with Leah at the new school. Like last year, after a couple weeks, the kids started carrying whatever they wanted. They are like, no. She tried to carry a cute little bag. No, they said we will throw it away. So they are very heavily enforcing the clear backpacks at Stone Mountain High School.
I used to look so forward to getting my JanSport.
Me too.
My kids
I had a green and blue plasma with a suede bottle.
They're not giving lockers at her school.
Wow.
And one of the mothers said, they said it just eliminates. They said it's just much easier for us. And this lady said, Well, what about when it's cold and they have coats? He said they can carry them.
Yep. They do though. They don't care. They'll carry them.
Right.
Oh,
And
but they
so
don't
it's
really have
like,
boots anymore.
So, I
Okay.
mean, they
yeah,
wear
and
hoodies in the
it's like,
summertime. They are.
and somebody complained that they don't have books, but it's like, I think that's their thought. You don't have books, and we don't know what you're going to put in that locker. So they're doing everything they can. And so she came in the other day, and I said to her, I don't remember what I asked her, but she said, how do you know we had a lockdown? I said, they sent an email right away because they maced some kids. They said that there was a fight and they weren't able to get it under control, and they had to mace some kids. And so they wanted parents to know. And she said, yeah, they swooped in really fast. Because that's what I asked. I said, did you get maced? And she was like, no, why'd you ask me that? Because I did all the way back when I was in high school. Something like that happened, and they maced the whole hallway to clear us out. But she said she wasn't in that particular hallway. But you could tell from the tone, it was like, listen, we couldn't get them separated. We couldn't calm it down. And we had to spray, and we got it under control. And they said it was minor injuries.
In Clayton County, middle schools and high schools, bathrooms are locked all day.
What?
And
Wait now.
Well, it makes sense. Have y'all not seen that TikTok trend where they're taking the whole bathroom door off the hinges and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, and the kids going in there and ODing, huh?
Yeah, they're going in ODing, they're raping the girls. I mean, they're doing all kind of things. So certain teachers at certain points have keys and they're locking bathrooms. It's bad.
People ask me why I don't teach. Child, please. Y'all don't want to leave
We
me in
don't
the room
Oh
for
my
other people's
God.
kids.
I could never survive. I promise.
Dude,
No.
with this bladder I got, they would have been sick of me. They'd have been like, here's your own key.
I have to be a PE teacher. That's it. That's what I want to do.
I tell people all the time, you have to deal with so many other things before you can even think about 2 + 2. You know, me teaching in North Philly, it changed my whole perspective of things. And I did very well in my student teaching, but I said, this is not my ministry. I said, I don't ever want to be so desensitized that I don't care that these kids didn't eat. Or like I told Renee, one of my kids was kidnapped. I couldn't even get to 2 + 2 when I'm dealing with all this other stuff, but I didn't want to become a person where I didn't care about that stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this. And my degree is collecting dust.
As I get older, I want to teach less, but it's more so the parents. Like the first day of school this year, we had 2 parents fighting. We had to mace them. The daddy brought his new girlfriend up there to see the kid, and his 2 baby mamas showed up
Lord.
and started fighting in front of the school, and they was blocking the kids from getting in. So our principal had pepper spray, and she just sprayed everybody. Like, y'all gonna move out the way.
She should have.
I cannot. Y'all, I cannot. Nope. Yeah, y'all gotta hear Erica's story. Just let her talk about what was it, the first 6 months? Never
Yeah, because
everything
I told you, it was only my student teaching. That was just my 1 semester of student teaching. And I was at a good school, but oh my goodness, the things I saw. And this would have been over 20 years ago. And I'm just like, no, I couldn't do it. You know, and what I had to learn about myself, I'm a good teacher. So I could teach anything. I don't need to be in a classroom full of somebody else's kids. Don't leave me with other people's kids. I don't even like other people's kids. But, you know, so at work, I'm always the one training. I just had to learn that I can teach in other ways, but it won't be in a classroom full of kids. And, you know, one of the things that they recruited us when I was in college, they were really trying to get us to consider like working at like a juvenile detention center, things like that. And I expressed my concerns about my size, and they said they'll be extremely protective of you. He said, you'll probably be the one who has the most protection, but the guys won't harm you. He said some of these other teachers, they would. But I was like, no. I'm like, I don't think so. I think that if I was going to do some sort of classroom, it would be like GED or something like that. I don't think that I would ever voluntarily walk into a school again.
Erica, come on, you can help me in my classroom this year.
Child, and then y'all gonna see me on the news because I'm Mason. They gonna be like, first day, she fought a kid.
That would be
like elementary is cool. I know I couldn't do middle school. I think I could do high school. I could definitely do elementary, really small. Kindergarten, first grade, I'm in there. But when they start just smelling themselves and they getting these attitudes, no, thank you.
Wasn't it a first grader that took the principal's eye out?
Yes. Yes, the first grade took the principal eye out, the principal blind.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, nope, can't do that.
And the first grader that shot at the teacher in Virginia, that was the school that our student taught at. So,
oh wow. Bless all y'all.
Right. My hat goes off to all of y'all. My friends who teach, some of their stores, I'm like, oh God, I don't know how you even the ones in admin, I'm like, how do you deal with this every day? My niece told me that I think she teaches high school here. And she said it's mostly the parents. It's the students some too, but a lot of what she has to deal with is parents. Like she wrote a kid up for just getting up, walking out of the class. And parents said, well, why didn't you just give her a warning? She didn't know that that was a rule. Your child didn't know as a senior in high school that she can't get up and walk out of class. Really?
I was gonna watch a movie on Hallmark this weekend, and the main character was the name of the crazy ass parent I had from last year. I was like, nope, it's triggering me. I cannot watch the movie.
Yeah, I tend to, when I get calls about my daughter, I tend to always just be like, whatever the teacher says, I guess I agree, you're right, she's wrong. Because I know what it's like to be on the other side and like, just tell me how you need me to support you. And sometimes I think I overdo it because I just feel so bad for teachers. And so like she got in trouble for using her phone. And I'm like, girl, you were right to take that phone. Don't let her have it back. I don't want to be that parent that's like, not my kid.
Right.
Any thoughts? It was like we actually, mostly talked about the book for a good chunk of this chat. It was a good discussion, as always.
Very good. Very good.
I just want to say I did not like Mass Tyson's name because I named my nephew and his name is Tyson. He is the love of my life, and he is the absolute. I think he's the sweetest kid. He's 22, and I still say he's the sweetest kid. And so when I first saw that name, I was like, "Oh damn, why he gotta have Tyson's name?" One thing I love the pride that Jamaicans have in being from Jamaica. I just feel like this family was full of it. I want to fight all of them. I was like, y'all
all
are
of them.
Well beyond Jamaican pride.
Everybody.
5 stars.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It probably will make my top 10 this year. I love that book. Really good. Good suggestion, y'all. Thank y'all. Just looking at the comments in the chat. Thank y'all for joining. I know we had a few new faces. Excited. Hopefully you guys will be back. Join us again. Next month is Bluebird. Attica Luck. So I'm excited for that one. I've not read one of her books either. She just released one, I guess, this week. I think it's a
series, right?
It's the third one.
Yeah. So I didn't even realize that there was, when I chose it as a selection, that there was.
And I assume that was why you did it, because you knew the third one was coming out.
I heard Bluebird is gonna be like a series or something. Initially had it for November of this year. And then what did I have? Cane River, I think, for this month. And I forgot to, my mind is everywhere. I forgot to actually post the book on the 20th like I normally do. And I was looking at it and I was like, this is like 500 something pages. I just do not want to read. And I couldn't come up with something else that I didn't want to do romance. We've done enough of that this year. I was trying to just get something different and I couldn't think of anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take November's book and I'm just going to move it up to September. And then I can, I think we're doing Eve's memoir next month, whenever. I got to figure out when that comes out. And then,
is it this month or next month?
It comes, it's October.
I think it's the 1st of October because I think I saw a post she had yesterday that said she was a month away or 30 days out or something like that.
Okay. So yeah, I probably will announce it internally just so y'all can pre-order or do whatever, but on the 1st is probably when I get the book in my hands.
I pre-ordered that on the first announcement months ago.
Okay, yeah. So
the ebook and the audio.
It comes out on the 17th, y'all.
Of this month?
So
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Wait, you said of what month?
This month.
Okay, so it does. Okay, so then we should have it in time to make the announcement for October. So yeah, that's gonna be October's selection, and then I've got to come up with something for November, and then of course December we usually do something Christmassy. Haven't thought about what that is yet, but I have a list of things. So if y'all have suggestions, let me know. Not doing Tony Shiloh again, but a book. Her Christmas book just came in the mail today too. It's a cute cover. Can't think of the name of it right now, but
that was the one last.
He did that last. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one that made me mad.
Hang on a second. I'll go grab it.
Your sister is marrying your ex-boyfriend. Oh.
It made you mad.
That was ridiculous. It was all right, but it was like, girl, ain't no way.
I couldn't even remember what it was about. The way I wiped that book out of my brain.
Marrying her ex-boyfriend.
And all of them had Christmas names, Noel,
yeah,
Joel, and all that mess.
Yeah, this is the next one, or it comes out I think this month, the 24th of this month.
Is it a standalone or is it
I think it is a standalone. I don't think it.
And there's other Black authors that released. I don't know if they are the same. They probably are the same publisher. Casey Mills and somebody else all had Christmas books come out this month today. I'm not sure.
Oh, this is Two High School Sweethearts Reunite.
Oh yes, I love those.
He's an NFL, a career-ending injury. He's an NFL wide receiver. He had a career-ending injury.
Yes. He should have been a linebacker, but we'll take a wide receiver.
Yeah, I am a sucker for a sports romance. I might read that one.
Listen, it goes. I'm over here reading the description. I'm like, I just got it, but I was like, we might have to do Tony Shiloh 2 years in a row. Yeah, because the woman, she's divorced with a daughter too. It's the first time he returns in 8 years. So it'll be interesting. So they both return to their hometowns. We'll see. Yeah.
Yep. Sounded like a Hallmark movie. I'm all in.
Like, might have to. We'll see. Maybe we'll do a vote or something like that, and I'll throw out some Christmas suggestions in the Facebook group, and then y'all can vote and decide. It's gonna get read, but will it be as a book club selection? I don't know. I'll let y'all decide. December's read, and if y'all have suggestions for November, because I'm just stuck right now. I have no clue what I want. So, well, thank you, ladies, for a wonderful chat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.